Hello, great people. Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I'm Victor Akunna.
All right, so if you're watching this, you might be on our YouTube channel, Foundation for Family Affairs. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the bell next to it so you're notified when we drop our content. I would like to say thank you to all our returning subscribers. You make it worth the while. So at Foundation for Family Affairs, our mission is to connect hearts and raise healthy families. And that's why I love what we're going to talk about today. It's a topic we've been putting off for so long. And with some occurrences recently, we just thought, do you know what? It's about time we did this. Okay, for the benefit of a lot of people. Okay, when we talk about emotional growth, emotional maturity, it's something that as individuals, we must aspire to.
Absolutely.
I was speaking to someone in the course of the week and I said to this person, the quality of our relationship is dependent on us. Okay, it's dependent on my personal growth as an individual. If I'm doing my part, he's doing his part, then there's hope for our relationship. Yeah.
And if we talk about building healthy homes, building healthy families, you can't talk about building healthy families without people being emotionally healthy. A lot of the issues that people go through in marriage, in families, some of the bad experiences you've had growing up, maybe one or two will be from an outburst of emotion of someone, a significant other that was not able to manage their emotion correctly. And even though it's been many years, you still remember how you felt. You still remember the scar that left with you. So managing emotion is central to our mission.
Yes.
Central to what we do, central to how we, different times you hear different statistics. People will say 2/3 of the people who get married today are going to get divorced. And we say to ourselves, come on, we like to change our statistics. And that's one of the reasons why we do what we do. So that you will not be one of the statistics. Your marriage will not be one of those statistics that will say, oh, they ended up in divorce. Oh, but they were still in love together. So one of the things that we need to manage in order not to find ourselves as one of the statistics is the ability to manage our emotions. And that's what we'd like to talk about today.
When we talk about emotions, okay, some emotions, some examples would include joy,
gratitude,
fear, anger, disgust. Okay? So the dictionary will tell you it's just strong feelings emanating from one's circumstance, okay, or
interaction with other people.
Interaction with other people, or your mood. Okay, this is
your thoughts.
Or your thoughts.
Sorry,
I like that. I like that you're throwing that in. Okay, it's often an internal felt reaction to a stimulus. Okay, there's always something there. You pointed out something.
Yeah,
go on. You want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that people can't react to something unless that thing is mirroring something that's already with you. So, for example, if someone comes to you and say to you, "Oh, you're really stupid," all right, your reaction to that is a pointer to what you feel within you. So, if within you, you already think a little tiny mini voice somewhere is telling you you're not so smart. So the person pressing that button, what we call emotional triggers, the reaction they get from you is a pointer of what is already in there. So there is a receptor within you that is reacting. So somebody who doesn't have that voice in their head saying they are very assured, they're very sure that they are smart, they are intelligent, that they may not have all the answers, but they'll figure it out. Someone who comes from that worldview, you say that to them, they'll probably say, "Oh, what's wrong with this guy? I think something is happening to him." But somebody else who feels that they are not so smart, that they are foolish, that they are not smart, if you say that to them, their reaction will be, "How dare you say that?" Why? Because whatever the person is saying is a reflection to what how they are reacting is a reflection to what they're already thinking. And that really was like an eye-opener for me. That, how I react to a situation, it's not necessarily about the person who's pointing. The person may have their own issues, but my reaction is a reflection of my own inner reality, my own inner voice. That's what I have to fix, because I can't correct the other person.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so it is important at this point to let us know that you are not your emotions. So we have tolerable and intolerable emotions. Okay, so when it's intolerable, it means that I've done something that
some other people can't tolerate.
Yes.
But some people will tell you there are positive and negative emotions. I know I've read a lot of write-up where people say there are positive. For example, an emotion of maybe of anger. Although some people will say that the emotion of anger is a negative emotion. Some other people will say, though it's a negative emotion, it depends on how you channel it. Thank you. It's a good thing. It depends on how you channel it. So, for example, I hate injustice, for example. I might decide my wife hates injustice, so she may probably be the one that will be speaking about this. You may now have to because of that, go and acquire the law degree to be able to defend people or become an advocate. For example, there's a lady called Greta, this young lady that is advocating for the what do you call it now, for us to reduce carbon footprints, and she's going about campaigning for it vigorously. So your anger, if it's properly channeled, can help you create positive change.
Yes.
But if you channel towards somebody else, can be harmful, or towards yourself, can be destructive.
Another good example anyone will tell you is Elon Musk. Okay, when he was put off about the long time it takes to process transactions
online,
he decided to come up with PayPal, and we have him to thank for that.
Fantastic example. You know, so it doesn't matter what you feel. All right, the key thing there is this: what is that feeling? What feedback is it giving to you? Is it giving to you that, oh, guy, I need to look inward? All right, let's forget about the other people. We're going to constantly have a trigger from outside, but what that trigger meets within us should be the issue. You're going to have the sun. I remember, when I relocated and I started living in a more temperate region, all right, and every time the winter comes around, I always had this negative attitude. Oh, I hate this winter. Oh, my nose is running. Oh, this. I was always complaining. All right, until I told myself, hey, Victor, if you're going to be living here for a while, something has to change, because that weather is not going to change. You can't do anything about the winter. Winter is going to be coming every year, same time, producing the same outcome, but somebody has to change here. Guess who is going to change? I got to change, all right? So until I change my attitude about the weather, that's when things started. So what did I do? I changed my attitude about it. I started wearing thermal wear, started protecting myself better, and it doesn't really make any difference to me now. So that's one thing I said, let's not try to manage negative emotion by controlling how people talk to us. That you can't control. But what those comments meet within us is what we can control. And then let's deal with those.
Okay, so at this point, I'll put out a question. Could your emotions be affecting your relationship? Could your emotions be affecting your relationship? It's something to look into, and we'll be talking about some ways they do affect our relationships. Okay, but before then, let's talk about processing emotions. How do you process your emotions? Because not until we're able to process our emotions right, we won't have these healthy states, emotional states in our relationships. So it is important. How do you process emotions?
How do I process emotions, right? Because let me say, there are different times I've processed emotions. Sometimes I've been successful at it, sometimes I've not processed it really well. All right, so let me say, when I've been able to successfully process my emotion in a way that when I reflected, I was proud of. How did I do that? Okay, so one way that I've been able to do that successfully is resting well. I realize about myself that because I drive myself so much, I try to do so many things all at once, I get to burn out every now and then. All right, so, and burning out creates a certain level of internal reaction that, you're always panicking of missing deadline, missing that deadline, missing this, missing that. And then with all that, more demands are coming for your time. Like someone said, that the reward for good work is more work. I think also Obidi that said that. So the more you become successful doing something, the more people want more of your time, because then more people come to you for mentoring, more people come to you for advice. So there are different things. So I noticed that when that pressure begins to mount, it affects my ability to manage emotion better. So that means that sometimes you might be less patient, less tolerant, less observant, more selfish. Why? Because I'm trying to preserve my energy, because I'm feeling I'm burning out. Let nobody come and drain me again. So without knowing, you'll become less tolerant. I become less tolerant. I become less sensitive to people. All right, so what I do is that I rest when I get a good night's sleep or a good day's sleep. Night sleep is at normal, but when I just block out, because I rarely do that. So when I block at that time and I really rest over a period of time, it really helps me. That's why I look forward to holidays, right? So where I can just rest and really recuperate.
Okay, so another way, while I let you think about another point, for me, it would be, at some point, I had to get to the point where I tried to be in tune with myself. I had to try to understand myself. You can't process emotions if you don't understand them.
Yes,
okay?
absolutely.
So first, it's important to identify. So I had to ask myself, what are you feeling? You really need to identify what you're feeling.
Yes.
Okay. Some psychologists will tell you need to name it.
Name your emotions.
Name your emotions. Okay. So, but it won't happen until you're in tune with yourself. Okay. So, if it's a time when you feel bad, it's okay. And processing emotions sometimes will take a while because you need to learn. You need to learn how what are the triggers, what causes some of these things. So in that case, I had to make what is called a feeling list. Okay, so this is how I'm feeling at this time. Okay, and then I tried to then ask myself questions. There's a lot of internal questions, and I think in the course of it, you also helped me, which is another point I'll be putting out there. You need to speak to someone. Okay, so as I discuss these things with you, we're able to talk about this. So I'm more aware of what I am feeling, right? So that's one. So you may need to speak to someone. Some people would say, okay, for fear of speaking to the wrong people, you can't speak to a professional. There are some professionals in this. There are therapists out there who can assist with this. So it's okay to, first of all, try to understand yourself. What makes you feel the way you feel per time, and then in that way you're able to identify the triggers. Okay, so when you're feeling that way, then you can query certain things. Why am I feeling this way at this time? Is it really necessary? Okay, and then that's
wow, that's beautiful. I was enjoying it. Yeah. So ability to reflect within self. I think it's one of the what do you call it now? Element of emotional intelligence, or ability to be self-aware. What am I feeling? Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling gratitude? Am I feeling fear? Because once you name it, the strategy on how to handle it sometimes just pops up to you. So another way I manage my emotion is by reflecting. Sometimes when I don't handle emotion correctly, I kind of sit back and just say, okay, what could I have done better? All right, I learned this from a man called Stephen Covey. He said one of the ways that you can proactively manage your emotion is to reflect over how you've handled something, and then ask yourself, create a scenario where you say, in a situation like this, how am I going to handle this next time? And just kind of create emotion. So once you find yourself in that role play, you've already rehearsed kind of, and then you can just fall into that, because most of our reaction, most of the things that we react is something we've already programmed. Somewhere in your past, you said, never again, I will never take this from. So you've already reacted, this is how I'm going to handle. So anybody who comes at you with that action, your reaction is pre-programmed. So you can use that same program, but this time around in a positive and more productive way by just reflecting. Another thing I use to manage my emotion is journaling. All right, which is similar to your point in terms of naming. So I tend to journal. When I journal, I have clarity about what the issues are. So that way you can monitor. I can monitor. Okay, yeah, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing about it, and then like that, and then I can be able to spot what was the first time some of these things, because like I said earlier on, some of the triggers is a reflection of my own personal and emotional well-being. So you need to be able to find out, where is this coming from? All right. So once you identify the root of an issue, I think the problem most times is pretty half solved.
Identifying the root cause.
Yep.
Why do you feel the way you feel?
Yes.
Okay, I like that. You need to identify the root cause. Then something important which you touched on about sitting back to review things is it gives you a more holistic approach.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so you're able to make better decisions, reach better decisions in the future. So one last one I think I should just put out there is reframing. Reframing.
Yes.
And this one works wonders.
Yes.
Okay, because it's just you looking at a situation and giving it a different interpretation. You want to say more?
Yes. Right. Reframing is so powerful because someone said it's not what happened to you that really matters. It is your interpretation of what happens to you. All right. So if you look through your past, you may think, oh, you came from a really poor background. You rephrase that to say, well, that background prepared me to be hungry in life. All right, my background, for example, wasn't too glamorous, but I tell you one thing that I learned from my background, where we didn't have a lot of means at some point, was the desire to be successful, the desire to pursue, the desire. If you had left me based on my old temperament to myself, maybe I would not have amounted to much. But that desire of not having enough and then having something to aspire to created an indelible mark on my mind in terms of pursuing what you want. You know what? We know there's nothing here. Everything you want is out there. So go out there and get it. Go and get it. That's how I got this wonderful all right, go out there and get what you want. All right, don't wait for people to hand something over to you. Don't walk into the world with the sense of entitlement that, hey, give me this. No, what do you have to offer? Anytime I want to increase my income, I'm always thinking, what problem can I solve for people?
That's right.
How can I use my skill?
Yep.
And that is the knowledge that I gained from that. So that's how I was able to reframe that. So you can use that same strategy to reframe your interpretation of a situation, to give it a more empowering, meaning. And that's you taking the wheels of your life. Not thinking that you're a victim of a circumstance that happened to you, of your parents not being available. Reframing to say, you know what? My parents were not available because God knew that I had what it took to survive. And that will put you in a more empowering state.
Very, very, very good points. Yep. Okay, so let's get to the crux of the issue now, right? Yep. How this can affect, how not processing your emotions can affect your relationship. Okay, the first one we've come to do, because we had to sit back, and take a view of a lot of varied relationships. Okay, so one of the ways is it can prevent conflict resolution. Okay, it can affect conflict resolution.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So a typical example is like the one you gave earlier, where someone comes in. Okay, or let me give another example. Someone comes in and says something to you, and instead of responding, you react. Okay, you're reacting because there's a trigger in there, and there's got to be a receptor in there for that. Okay, so something that another person may look at and think, oh, an example. Now it's come to me, an example I want to use. I call you and I say, oh, do you know what? I'll be 3 hours late. Oh, I will be home late. Okay, there's a possibility that one spouse might be thinking, she's done this for some days now. Why is she doing this? And may begin to think and wonder, oh, could she be cheating? Could she be seeing someone else? Okay, but that same statement could be said to somebody else, another spouse, and he'll be thinking, oh my goodness, she's working really hard. She's put herself through so much. I'm going to think of how to make it up to her when she comes back. I'll give her a massage. How about I promise her a massage tonight? Right? So this one person is feeling like the other is having an affair. This other person is empathizing. All right? There's an understanding there. Now, if we consider both situations, it is possible that the other person may have come, if you look into the background of that person, probably in the last relationship was treated like that. So now feels that, so when anything that looks like it happens, of course we'll have to fall back to the other. Okay, but this other person now, maybe it was from a home where mom worked really hard, mom got up early in the morning and returned really late, so it's feeling like, oh my goodness, my wife is doing so much. So you see how we can process things better. And we can process things better when we have good understanding, good perspective on an issue. Absolutely.
So what we are saying is that the emotional state we are at a time can influence conflict management. It can either escalate it or de-escalate it. Why? Because our emotional state influences our perspective. Our paradigm is how we now, our paradigm gives us the tools to which we manage life. So if your paradigm says that if you see this pattern, this is what it's going to be. So if you see this pattern, that means the person is cheating. If you see that pattern, that means this is, and any other thing in between, your paradigm will not recognize it. So no matter what the person is saying to you, you're not going to hear them. Why? Because it's going to make you cannot even see. Not that because you're a bad person, but because you are locked into your paradigm. All right. So, but if you come from a paradigm of that is empowering, you'll be more curious. You say, tell me more. Rather from a paradigm of that is, if you're locked in your paradigm, you're most likely to be dogmatic and to hold on to your own worldview. So at the end of the day, negotiating and managing conflict with that person can be like gruesome. To be fair.
Yes. Yeah. Imagine if you said that the other to me now, like, oh, are you seeing someone? Imagine the sparks, okay, and more like, what? I've been out all day. You dare say that to me? You say so. Yes, it could impact on conflict management. Then another point is it could. Now, when we don't say things properly, we say the wrong things to others. Okay, so what we're trying to say, the second point we're putting out there is it could make you say things that hurt others so much. Okay, and this is something we must be mindful of. Of course, different people process things wrongly. So what we're putting out there is for you to learn how to process your emotions in a healthy way. Processing my emotions in a healthy way means I don't just dump my emotions. Okay, I feel it, but I take time, okay, to process it and find the right time and the right way to express how I feel about it. Okay, so in doing that, I lessen the possibility of hurting my loved ones. Okay, because I won't just lash out at them. I won't just say the wrong things. I won't say harsh words that could impact them for life.
Personally, there are people in my life that I'm sure right now they can't even remember that they said some words that that for a long time it took me a while to get to forgive. Why? Because the words were so deep and so, when they say words that cuts, particularly for someone who is sensitive to words can be very, very, very harmful. Yes. All right, so I remember a particular instance, for example, and someone really used a specific word, and it was up to now. I still think about it. I've discussed it with my wife at different times, and she's like, "Oh, the person doesn't mean this. How this person is with everybody." And I think, well, that makes sense. But it doesn't really address. It doesn't really heal the wound. All right, so that's why people not managing their emotion can be flippant with words. Why? Because they are trying to articulate how they feel. Sometimes they are trying to get people to act, to do something. They're trying to get a reaction, or they're trying to get you to do something right. So in the process of doing that's true. They may use the wrong approach to get the right results, not knowing that the result they are trying to get will not be gotten. Why? Because you are creating a huge gap, emotional gap. All right, so the best thing is when you are in a certain emotional state not to use certain words, because sometimes people may forget what the issue was, but they may not forget how you made them feel. All right, so very important to us to be more careful with our words. All right, and because for example, there are some families, some adults right now that are still walking around, but they've not forgotten what their mother said to them.
You mean they've not healed?
They've not healed.
Yes.
All right. So it still plays in their mind, and some people, though, I read the particular, I think I've heard a story of someone who said no matter what he did, his father was never satisfied. His father was always criticizing him, and that drove him to try to achieve more. So he was able to achieve a lot. Guess what? He wasn't happy because that vacuum that his father could have filled, that acceptance. He was trying to get it through getting jobs, getting this, which he did succeed at, but he still had that internal feeling of emptiness. All right, so as adults, we need to be very careful. Those of us that God has given children, we need to be very careful in managing them. Those of us God has given people that look up to us in terms of proteges that are hanging on to every word that we speak, we have to be very careful. Those of us that have people around us, all right, people who maybe not as privileged, because as we are on specific issues, we have to be very careful. So for example, you have someone who is trying to aspire to a new role that you are doing effortlessly. We have to be very careful. It's better to be quiet than to say the wrong words.
Yes, that's very important. Okay. So another point we have for you here is it could prevent meaningful and productive relationships.
Absolutely.
the inability to process your emotions right could hinder meaningful and productive relationship. Now, an example would be for someone who is easily offended. You're easily offended. Of course, because you're easily offended, people will be avoiding you. There's a tendency that would happen. Okay, people will be very sensitive around you, so you're not triggered.
Yes.
All right, but you deprive yourself enjoying some depth in that relationship. Okay, another example too, as I was thinking about this, is people who are always fault finding. Okay, there's always something wrong with the other person. There are times we should just relax and let people be themselves, be who they are in your space. You don't always have to micromanage people to be like you. Let people breathe and be themselves. And it doesn't mean you minimize who you are. Be yourself as well. Enjoy the relationship. There are advantages in having relationship. Okay, so if we deprive ourselves from the benefits therefrom, if we want to stay stuck to how we see things, how we process things, right? So we need to be seeking better ways, more productive ways of expressing our emotions. Yes.
There are some of you that may be watching us right now. You're not close to your parents, right? Because when you were growing up, you didn't quite know what to expect. You don't know whether mom will be happy today, happy the next minute. You don't know whether dad will be happy today. Just this mood swinging helps. All right, so you don't know how, you're just walking on eggshell. Maybe you are playing as a child, and the moment someone just calls your name out, oh, Victor or something, and then the next, you know that your play day has finished for that day, right? Because the energy, the person, so you are asking yourself, so as a child, am I not supposed to be playing? All right, some of us grew up in homes where playing was an abomination. It was not something you should do as a child. It seems like playing you are an irresponsible child. All right, but science has come to prove that playing is part of the development of how children develop their sense of identity, sense of smell, personality, and then motor skills. There are many benefits for child, but of course, knowledge at that time was not as it is right now. So if you grew up in an atmosphere where everywhere is so tense, are you creating the same experience for your own children? Are you repeating that same pattern? Blaming them now that you walk into a place, the first thing you notice is everything that is not right. You walk through the door, oh, why is this here? Why is that here? Why is that here? So your presence in an atmosphere supercharges the atmosphere. And so people are constantly looking at your face to know how to behave. That's not a very healthy environment that you are creating.
Yes.
All right, so you need to pull back. If you need to get help, because this is the pattern you've seen, you might not be able to create a solution for yourself. Why? Because what did they say? They said, I think it was Francis Bacon that says, for us to solve a problem, we must grow beyond the level of thinking we were at when we created the problem. So you can't solve a problem if it's in your blind spot. You need to get someone else to help you to be able to address this issue.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So another way it can affect your relationship is it could impact on vulnerability. Okay, I can't be truly open. Vulnerability is that state where I let the other see the depths of me. Right? I can't be truly vulnerable with you using this relationship now as an example. I can't be truly vulnerable with you if you probably don't process your emotions right. You come in and I don't feel comfortable to express how I feel.
Absolutely.
Okay, and things that have happened to me. Okay, it could impact me, how vulnerable I am in the relationship.
Or sometimes when what you share with me
is used against me.
In confidence, I'll be like, oh, that's how
you're upset.
That's how you always do,
out.
And you just use it just to score a point.
Yes.
Your intention may not be to hurt. Your intention is more like to let the other person feel the pain you're feeling. The reason why you are like that is because you are hurting. Someone says hurting people hurt others.
That's true.
So the issue is not your spouse. The issue again is you. The whole of this video to say is you need to become more emotionally healthy. All right. The reason why you keep having these similar issues with one person, another person, maybe the problem is you, because you are the common denominator who is creating this pattern. Some people have the challenge of saying, oh, people are always accusing me. Oh, people come into after I help people so much, they leave. If it happens once, twice, third time, maybe you should have a look to see what is your real motivation behind that help that you are giving. Is it because you want to get a certain approval from people? Or is it because you want to have some form of superior, have a sense of superiority over those people? And once they are able to not to need your help again, they run in the opposite direction. So you might have to why is this happening over and over again?
Yes.
All right, to be able to find out, rather than being angry and say I'm not going to help another person. All right, no, look within you and try to address the internal battle.
Okay, and the last one we have for you today is regarding parent-child relationship. It could make your children hypersensitive.
Yes.
Okay, there's nothing that chips on self-esteem of children than emotions not rightly processed, right? It could affect a child, affect growing up. I mean, if you think back to how you grew up, you might just remember some incidents that took place that you had to do extra work on to get back your confidence, be the right, healthy individual you should be. So when you think about that, you need to then look at the children before you with a lot of love and see how you can just infuse love and help them even when they make mistakes, right? And there's something we put out on our Instagram where we're saying when we as parents learn to properly process emotions, we will, in a healthy way, we will be able to teach our children this, and that's the point of getting them to emotional literacy.
Absolutely.
Where they're able to identify what they feel, understand what they feel, and then express it. Children should not keep all those emotions in because they feel, oh, mom's gonna think I'm bad, dad's gonna think this of me, right? So we should encourage children to be speaking, to express how they feel. What are you feeling? Do you feel sad? Are you upset? What are you upset about? So we should be asking them questions. Yes.
Sometimes as parents, I've seen some parents where they discourage children for expressing their emotions, and they say, "Why are you crying?" And they just stop crying. So what they are on, because the goal is that I don't want to be embarrassed and seen as a bad parent.
Yes.
That's their intention. All right, their intention is not malicious.
Yes.
But what they are doing by telling a child don't cry is bottle in your emotions. And we've seen how much that has helped us with a lot of immature adults we have in our world today.
All right, so we may not have touched on some points that you have in mind and you're thinking, oh, it would have been so great if they touched on these points. So let's hear from you. You can drop them in the comment section, or we may have touched on some points that resonate with you in a special way. Let's hear from you. We'll be happy to hear from you. So reach out, feel free. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Foundation for Family Affairs, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you're notified when we drop our content. Do you have something else to say?
That we love you guys and thank you for all you do for us. That's what I'd like to say.
Yes, we love you. Thank you. All right, until we come your way again, it's goodbye from us.
Bye.